कंदो शक्कर दिला दो तोरे मगज में हूँ मैं शीरिन सुखन जुरा दो शीरिन सुखन जुरा दो हरफी बहस में हूँ मैं हरफी बहस में हूँ मैं
बोलो अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय। Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Babaful Sundays program of the Avatar Meher Baba Bombay Center. Before we begin today's proceedings, let us all join our hands and remember our eternal beloved. It's time for prayers. May I please request everybody to mute their mics and focus on our eternal beloved. MV, over to you. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
अवतार मेहर बाबा की जय. O Parvatigar, the preserver and the protector of all, you are without beginning and without end, non-dual, beyond comparison, and none can measure you. You are without colors, without expressions, without form, and without attributes. You are unlimited and unfathomable, beyond imagination and conception, eternal and imperishable. You are indivisible, and none can see you but with eyes divine. You always were, you always are, and you always will be. You are everywhere, you are in everything, and you are also beyond everywhere and beyond everything. You are in the firmament and in the depths. You are manifest and unmanifest, on all planes and beyond all planes. You are in the three worlds and also beyond the three worlds. You are imperceptible and independent. You are the Creator, the Lord of Lords, the knower of all minds and hearts. You are omnipotent and omnipresent. You are knowledge infinite, power infinite, and bliss infinite. You are the ocean of knowledge, all knowing, infinitely knowing, the knower of the past, the present, and the future, and you are knowledge itself. You are all merciful and eternally benevolent. You are the soul of souls, the one with infinite attributes. You are the Trinity of truth, knowledge, and bliss. You are the source of truth, the ocean of love. You are the Ancient One, the highest of the high. You are Prabhu and Parameshwar. You are the beyond God and the beyond God also. You are Parabrahma, Allah, Ilahi, Yazdan, Ahura Mazda, and God the Beloved. You are named Izzat, the only one worthy of worship. We repent, O God, most merciful, for all our sins, for every thought that was false or unjust or unclean, for every word spoken that ought not to have been spoken, and for every deed done that ought not to have been done. We repent for every deed and word and thought inspired by selfishness, and for every deed and word and thought inspired by hatred. We repent most specially for every lustful thought and for every lustful action, for every lie, for all hypocrisy, for every promise given but not fulfilled, and for all slander and backbiting. Most especially also, we repent for every action that has brought ruin to others, for every word and deed that has given others pain, and for every wish that pain should befall others. In your unbounded mercy, we ask you to forgive us, O God, for all these sins committed by us, and to forgive us for our constant failures to think and speak and act according to your will. Beloved God, help us all to love you more and more, and more and more, and still yet more, till we become worthy of union with you, and help us all to hold fast to beloved Baba's daman till the very end. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Thank you, Jai Baba. Uh, Before we begin today's program, which is of course on the life of the beloved's beloved, that is Mehra, I would like to make a few quick announcements. Uh, One is that we have,
Manosh, you are not audible.
sorry,
Yes.
yeah, am I audible now? Hello?
Yes, yes, audible.
Okay. So, a couple of announcements before we begin today's sessions. One is that we have received the calendars for the year 2021 and Baba calendars, of course. And since the center is not open as yet, this matter was discussed in our Board of Trustees meeting last week. So we are in fact proposing to reopen the center from the first week of January, subject to permission given by the society. So we have sent a letter to the secretary of our society and we are awaiting a response from them on this. Uh, so as of now, we once we get a response from the secretary of the society, then we will let you know as to when and in what mode the center will open. So coming to the subject of calendars, one way of collecting your calendars, if you wish to collect, is to come to the center on the designated day and collect them, pay the money over there. If you are not able to come, then there is an option whereby you can either let me or Darius, and we will be sending you all the details with the telephone numbers and everything. You can let us know the number of copies that you wish to have, and you can make an NEFT net banking NEFT payment directly to the Avatar Meher Baba Bombay Center. Of course, courier charges along with the calendar charges will have to be borne by you. If you are unable to do a NEFT payment, you can simply courier the amount to us in cash at our residence address, which we will also be giving over there. Otherwise, if the center is open, you can come down to the center, or you can place your orders to somebody whom you know who is coming down to the center, collect the copies and make the payments. So these are several options that are there. We will of course be sending out a detailed communication once we get a sign off, that is from the society and the secretary of the Navyug Nivas Society. And of course, if the center opens, it will only be open for the purposes of darshan. And there are, of course, very detailed guidelines that we have developed and written down, which will have to be followed, and people will not be allowed to stay for more than 10 minutes at the center. So, of course, I will be coming back to you with all these details during the course of the week. But as far as the calendars are concerned, this is the way forward. We will be sending out the communication to you very soon on this. Today is the beginning of a new chapter, as I said. लास्ट 2 संडेज पिछले 2 रविवार हम लोगों ने बाबा का जो दूसरा एक्सीडेंट हुआ था 17 में, उसकी जो फिल्म थी एक्ट ऑफ गॉड, उसके ऊपर गौर किया था, बाबा के सफरिंग के ऊपर गौर किया था. आज जो हम लोग आपके सामने रखने जा रहे हैं वो प्रियतम बाबा की प्रियतम मेहरा, जिनका जन्म दिवस पारसी कैलेंडर के हिसाब से एज पर द ज़ोरास्ट्रियन कैलेंडर इज फॉलिंग ऑन द 22nd of December. So that will be so we therefore we thought that we will for the next 3 Sundays, अगले 3 रविवारों के लिए हम मेहरा माई का जो जीवन बाबा के साथ रहा है, मेहरा माई का जो बाबा के अवतारी काल में, in Baba's avtaric work, in this avtaric advent, the role that Mehra played, the 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 position that she often enjoyed, and her intimate relationship with Baba, and of course with the rest of the women mandali, and so many of us who were very fortunate to have known her or seen her, उसको हम बाहर उजागर करने की कोशिश करेंगे. आज के जो कार्यक्रम की शुरुआत मेहरा माई के ऊपर हमारी अर्चना ग्रोवर जी ने एक बहुत ही बढ़िया पोएम लिखी है. सो आई विल रिक्वेस्ट अर्चना टू share that poem with us. That should set the tone or the context for our conversation. And then, of course, there is this beautiful 3-volume biography of Mehra, which is called Mehera Meher, A Divine Romance. It's been written beautifully many years back by David Fenster. And the author writes in the preface or the introduction to the book that when Bhauji was जब भाऊजी लॉर्ड मेहर लिख रहे थे, जो बाबा की खुद की बायोग्राफी है और जो बाबा ने उनको सीधे तरीके से ऑर्डर किया था अपने इन द लास्ट डेज ऑफ हिज एडवेंट टू राइट हिज बायोग्राफी, तो जब भाऊजी ने लॉर्ड मेहर लिखना शुरू किया तो उनके पास इतने सारे मटेरियल आते गए, खासतौर से मेहरा के ऊपर, कि उन्हें लगा कि मेहरा के जीवन काल के ऊपर एक अलग से एक बायोग्राफिकल किताब बन सकती है. और therefore Mehera Meher was born as a sort of an adjunct to Lord Meher. So Mehera Meher में से कुछ chapters, कुछ पन्ने आपके सामने पढ़ेंगे. We will read it out as it is, and we will continue to do that for the next 3 Sundays. Of course, we will also have films on Mehra. We will have songs that Mehra liked. So and of course people who have known Mehra are also free to share their thoughts and their experiences. So that's the way we'll be going forward for the next 3 Sundays, hopefully. And therefore before we begin, I would request Archana to take over and share the poem that she has written on Mehra. Archana?
Am I audible?
Yes,
Am
very
I
much.
okay?
Good.
Avtar Meher Baba ki jai.
Archana, can you just put on your video, please?
Okay. Okay. I've named the poem Mehera, the Divine Half. The year 1907 heralded the birth of an innocent, virtuous soul on earth, an effervescent bubble of joy for Jahangir ji and Daulat Mai. Nurtured with love and care, she grew up to be an effulgent, radiant being, prolific with glee, brimming with empathy and childlike innocence, a soul to be entwined with her divine prince, an epitome of purity and humility, endowed with a cascading surge of simplicity, crowned by her selflessness and simple grace. Her innate fondness for flowers, animals, and all things natural led her to, by and by, attain a luminous place, close to the pinnacle of beloved Meher Baba's world ethereal. A glimpse of the avatar at the ashram of Upasni Maharaj at 16 sent her subtle thoughts reeling to the edge. To her adolescent self did she pledge to live and love God, only God, only God. With rock solid faith and silent grace, she embarked on her divine journey, sharing each phase of her beloved's life as his most loving disciple with not a trace of discomfort or difficulty, especially in the new life phase. She was his very existence, his very breath, serving Baba relentlessly, profusely infusing him with gentle care, thus guiding the Lord himself to declare, Mehera loves me as I should be loved. A scintillating example of divine love in all its glory, the melodious whisper of his soul, a brilliant example of sanctity and purity. In his silence, her divine love shone. Be brave, he said while breathing his last, for it was she who had nursed the master through the injuries that plagued him with pain, an embodiment of dignity, love, and care she was. Meher Baba's divine half, Mehra, endeared by one and all, merged with her beloved in 1989, leaving us all teary-eyed with an overwhelming void, but imprinting in our human minds her matchless pure love and constant remembrance of her harmonious seraphic symphony with none other than the beloved Meher Baba himself. She was his celestial chosen one. Jai Baba.
Thank you, Archana. That was very touching, very beautiful,
Thank
and
you.
in a sense, it sets the tone for our reading that we intend to do today. And this is, of course, from these huge volumes of Mera Meher, and of course, they are available online as well. The thing which I was wondering and thinking when the core group which works out these programs on Sundays decided to do these book readings, uh, where do we start? Because these are huge volumes, and Mehra's life is very extensively chronicled in these volumes. मतलब बहुत डिटेल में मेहरा माई के जीवन की कहानियां इन वॉल्यूम्स में रखी गई है, और इसका इसके जो सूत्र है, द सोर्स इज मेहरा हरसेल्फ. मेहरा माई ने खुद ने तकरीबन, भाऊजी के ये जो ऑथर है डेविड फेंस्टर, तो डेविड फेंस्टर के साथ तकरीबन 250 घंटे, 250 hours of recording is what she has done of explaining her life and her incidents from the very beginning with Baba. And that's how these volumes have of course come out. Of course, we will not be able to read everything that is there in these volumes, but when we talk about Mehra, and just for the sake of those who are probably hearing about her for the first time and who are on this program, I will only read out a little introductory preface about her. Is that she was born into a very wealthy Zoroastrian family of Pune in India. Mehra Irani had no interest in spirituality as a child. But when her widowed mother began visiting spiritual masters and took her daughter to meet the avatar of the age, Meher Baba, Mehra's heart was captivated. So there are 3 volumes. Volume 1 traces the progression of Mehra's service to and devotion for Meher Baba, joining him permanently in 1924 at the age of 17. Mehra was appointed to do Baba's personal work. She was appointed by Baba to become her orderly. Earlier on, prior to this, the orderly was Gustadji, who lived with several perfect masters, including Baba Jan and Sai Baba. And then Baba had given this work to Gustadji, to Mehra. Later, he revealed that Mehra, as his Radha, held a unique role that one special chosen soul plays in each avataric advent. ये line बहुत important है. बाबा ने बाद में ये कहा था, later he revealed that Mehra, as his Radha, उनकी राधा के रूप में, held a unique role that one special chosen soul plays in each avataric advent. Gradually, as the years passed, Mehra assumed her position as the chief woman disciple of the master. So, ये जो मेहरा का जो इंट्रोडक्शन जिसमें है, बहुत से लोग मेहरा माई के संबंध में, और and I have this habit of saying Mehra Mai because I remember seeing her as a child many years ago, and my first instinctive reaction to seeing her, the word that came very strongly in the mind, and I was very young, I must be about 8 or 9 at that time. The first instance I remember seeing her in Mehrazad, in the Mehrazad garden, the first word that came into my mind was purity. She was very, very pure. You could feel that purity. You could sense that purity with her. And many people ask this question: what was Mehra's role? In what way was she related to Meher Baba? उनका बाबा के साथ रिश्ता क्या था? What was her relationship with Baba? A lot of new people who do not know about her role, and even a lot of old timers like us who really don't know in detail about who Mehra really was, we tend to give many colors to this relationship. And therefore, in this reading today, I would like to begin with this one question, that she was called, and in Archana's poetry also we heard that she was called the beloved's beloved. The question that comes to mind is, why does the beloved need a beloved? प्रियतम को प्रियतम की क्यों जरूरत पड़ती है? Baba said, if there is anyone who loves me the way I should be loved, that is Mehra. As I ought to be loved, it is Mehra. So what is that love? What was their relationship? And what is the significance of the relationship for us and for Baba's work is something that we will start the reading with. I'm actually beginning from volume 3, which was the last part after she dropped her body. It's page 580, and if you have the book, you can read along with me, or you can just hear the words out in silence. And this, who was Mehra and why does the beloved need a beloved, are questions which have been answered so beautifully by Bhauji and by Mani, Baba's sister. And I will read that part out, and then, time permitting, we will go back to the first volume towards Mehra's early stay with Meher Baba, starting in the year 1924 at Mehrabad. Because I'm starting the reading. Because of Mehra's serious condition in May 1989, Bhauji had been debating whether to postpone his scheduled trip to Australia. On 20th May, he had gone to Baba's tomb in the morning and decided firmly not to postpone the trip. As soon as he returned to the trust office, the phone call came from Mehrazad that Mehra had gone to Baba. In Australia, Bhauji spoke of Mehra. Mehra dropped her body on Buddha Jayanti, that is the in May 1989, it was the day of Buddha Jayanti, Buddha's birthday, and also the day of his realization. Mehera became one with the beloved the same day. It is not a day of sorrow, but it is a matter of great joy that she became one with the beloved. Though we miss her, still it is good for all that she has become one with the beloved. When one becomes one with the beloved, no one knows what benefit the world derives out of it. There was nothing in Mehra's life except the beloved. These are Bhauji's words. There was nothing in Mehra's life except the beloved. She was the only perfect example of dedication. She was not living for herself. She was living for the beloved. Not a single thought of self. What she was passing through, no one knew. She played a very difficult role, caring only for Baba's orders and pleasure. I repeat once again, this is a very important line. She played a very difficult role, caring only for Baba's order and pleasure. When she shed tears, those tears were immeasurably valuable, since she was weeping for the whole creation. Such tears, of course, we cannot have. It requires the dedication of many lifetimes. The tears she shed were quite a different sort. Those tears touched the hearts of people, particularly his lovers. Mehera was the beloved of the beloved. She was like the queen. The queen is not physically present now, but her palace is there, and it is lit with her love. People of many generations afterwards will remember her love. They will remember her tears. They will remember her dedication. Baba has explained that the avatar circle, now this is important. Baba has explained that the avatar circle consists of 10 circles with 12 members in each circle. Baba का ईश्वर का जो अवतार काल जब आता है और अवतार जब आते हैं, तो अवतार के कुल मिला के 10 सर्कल, there are 10 circles, और हर एक सर्कल के अंदर 12 मेंबर होते हैं. There are 12 members in each circle and 2 special appendages, basically attendants. Mehera was one of these appendages, Baba declared, and money the other. According to Bhau, each member of the avatar circle represents an opposite attribute of God. For example, in the early years, Baba referred to Gustad Ji as his dark side, meaning that Gustad Ji represented infinite darkness. If Baba or God was infinite light, Gustad Ji represented infinite darkness. Another member of the circle represented infinite ignorance, if Baba as God was infinite knowledge. This was the attribute opposite to infinite knowledge, and so on. Baba worked for creation through them and the other circle members. यानी बाबा का जो सर्कल है, जिसको हम मंडली कहते हैं, उस सर्कल के हर एक व्यक्ति जो सर्कल में चुना जाता है, जो सिलेक्ट होता है, वो एक ऐसे एट्रीब्यूट को, एक ऐसी कैपेबिलिटी को रिप्रेजेंट करता है जो अवतार से विपरीत है या अवतार से ऑपोजिट है. सो इफ अवतार इज इन्फिनिट नॉलेज, देयर इज वन हु रिप्रेजेंट्स infinite ignorance. If avatar represents infinite light, there is one who represents infinite darkness or the dark side. So Gustad Ji played that role, and similarly every other member of Baba's Mandali had some role to play, and Baba was working through them and the other circle members. So the fact that the opposite attribute is present with the avatar in his circle makes his job, makes his work that much easier, is what Baba has explained. But Mehera, now here it comes to Mehera. But Mehera represented all the opposite attributes to God. Bhav stated, and hence held a unique place in the beloved circle. Mehera represented all the attributes of God, all the opposite attributes of God, and hence held a unique place in the beloved circle. It happens only after 700 years or 1400 years when the Ancient One comes on earth in human form. She represents Eve. Every time the Lord comes on earth, someone is there to represent that post, which is permanent. Adam was the first one, the first drop. Eve was creation or Maya. In the beginning, when creation took place, the first drop, that is the avatar, got God realization and then became the perfect master. He worships Maya because Maya was and is the medium of realization of God. This is very important. God speaks, अगर हम पढ़ते हैं तो God speaks में बाबा ने जो लिखा है, dedication that Baba has given in God speaks is dedicated to illusion through which reality can be understood. So here Bhauji says so beautifully, he worships Maya because Maya was and is the medium for realization of God. Therefore, when he comes down on earth age after age, he brings someone to represent the whole of creation, which has all the opposite attributes of God. Mehera was that one. Mehera was that chosen one. Mani also spoke about this aspect of Mehera's role in representing creation. We have all been representatives, she says, like mini models, or said in a better way, like tools that Baba needs for his work. We each represent something symbolically for the work Baba does through us, even though we are unconscious of it. To me, what could be the Creator's beloved? What could be the Creator's beloved but his own creation? Mehera, to me, I feel positive, represents the world, his creation. This is his beloved in that way too. Each time when God appears as man, when he assumes the mantle of imperfection of man to be amongst us, the stage has to be set. The roles, the story is his, but this one is given a certain role. This role that is very special as his beloved has been given to Mehera. Mehera has earned that role as Baba's beloved. One should not mix up divine love with physical love. When Baba says that she is his beloved, it does not mean what an ordinary person would say that so and so is my beloved. The divine love is something that we not only don't have in our dictionary of life, but it is something that one doesn't experience. There again, it is something that Baba has come to give us by his very being, by way of example of what real love, divine love means, which does not depend upon the physical or the touch. Another thing Baba said, Mehera had the purity of a heart of a child. That childlike quality Baba implanted, planted, preserved, and developed. We would always say that Mehera is like a child, that she has the innocent heart of a child, which explains the way in which Baba would please her, because that is how Baba has kept her. So when I think of Mehera, I think of purity, not only in the sense of being like a nun, because that applies to us all who are with him, but of another kind. It is a purity that is a simplicity of its own kind. In these roles are the ones who are around Baba, whom he had kept as the innermost circle around him in his proximity and life with him. We are like an architect's model. The model is not limited to the model itself. It is what will be applied to the dimensions it is meant for. So in whatever way Baba worked with his circle, the chosen few, it is meant to be universal in times to come. As we all represent something, I have a very strong assurance in my heart, writes Mani, though Baba never said it directly, she says, that Mehera represents his creation, the world. If Mehra represents the world, naturally she is Baba's beloved because the Creator loved his world. What would be the beloved to a Creator? That which he has created. So Baba would say, if Mehra is pleased, I am pleased. Sometimes Mehra said, Baba, someone has sent this cheese for you. Baba told her to have it, saying it is as good as my having it. In other words, if you are pleased, it is as good as me being pleased. He was reflecting that role, saying that she should be taken care of because by that it is taking care of the whole world. Mani spoke again on the same theme on another occasion. Baba said Mehra was his beloved, that he loved her the most, that her love for him was matchless and childlike in its purity and simplicity, and that she was the one chosen to be his beloved in this Advent. He would treasure her expressions of love for him and see that she was pleased always. He would tell her, if you are happy, I am happy. The worldly minded, who do not know the meaning of divine love and cannot understand a loving that is not expressed physically, misconstrue the role of a beloved in the Avataric Advent and wonder if the Avatar too had a need for a partner like any other man. Down through the ages, humanity has witnessed. Each time the Avatar comes, he has a beloved. As Ram, he had his Sita. As Krishna, he had his beloved Radha. As Jesus, he had his dear Mary Magdalene. But down through the ages, people have wondered, and it's no wonder that they continue to wonder in this Advent. Why does the Lord have the need to have? May I request, please, to not post messages while the reading is on? Thank you. It's very disturbing. Why does the Lord have the need to have a beloved when he himself is the beloved Lord of all? Something most insignificant throws light on this significant question. As related earlier, Baba always went to such an extent to please Mehra and to keep her happy that one day Mani in exasperation said to him, Baba, if Mehra were to tell you that the earth is square, I guess you would say, yes, it is, wouldn't you? Baba looked at Mani and nodded very seriously, yes, I would. As Mani recalled, it was not until many years later that it dawned on her that Baba loved Mehra in the way that he wanted his lovers to love him. The avatar sets the guidelines for humanity in his life and becomes the gauge by which humanity can measure itself. In loving his beloved, the avatar perfectly plays the role of the lover and sets an example for all his lovers of how to love him, the divine beloved. Don Stevens also echoed the same conclusion. Mehra, more than any other human being, can and should represent to us the ideal of what the real return of love can and must be. Totally undemanding love. As we see the example of Mehra, we must be reminded, and undoubtedly Baba intended it to be thus, that it is a sheer offering, the unclouded and total offering of our own complete giving to him, of the totality of our river of warmth and certainty of complete meaning found in his being. Mehra is the symbol of the giving of nothing other than the simple self. Don writes, I feel deeply as I've observed the state of our present efforts to show our gratitude and wish to return some modicum of our own estimation of great value received, that now is the time when we must all come to terms with the example of Mehra and not regard it as something unique in the life of the avatar, but for what he certainly provided it to us. Mehra's love is the symbol and the concrete example of what each of us must know as the ideal of love, to which we must compare ourselves and to which we must move steadily and joyously. With Mehra's passing and reunion, the divine romance between herself and Meher Baba came to an end. but the sweet fragrance of their wondrous love remains redolent on earth as the story of their days together is recalled and retold. Mehra's example will always be the paradigm of love, but how can we incorporate her experience into our daily lives? How can we move steadily and joyously towards the ideal? How can we live our life like Mehra did? How can we love Baba the way Mehra did? Simply by doing this, by living as Mehra did those last many years without Baba's physical presence. When Mehra remembered the beloved throughout the day, she turned to look and felt Baba's presence near her. It is possible for us also, but it requires constant, sincere remembrance. When Mehra said, "Take Baba with you," this is what she meant. She meant constant, sincere remembrance. Is the meaning of the word "take Baba with you." I keep hearing this word "take Baba with you" said all the time. हर बार ये शब्द मेरे कानों पे आते हैं, बहुत से लोग बोलते हैं, इसका अर्थ नहीं समझते हैं, इसका सही द रियल मीनिंग इज constant, sincere remembrance. Take Baba with you. Meher Baba meant the same when he exhorted us, "Make me your constant companion." What does it mean? To make me your constant companion is constant, sincere remembrance. May we be worthy of loving the divine beloved as faithfully as honestly and as deeply as Mehra did. May we be as courageous as Mehra was to let our eyes be fitted with the blinders of devotion, so that all we see is the beloved's face, so that all we care about is obeying him, so that one day we too might realize that nothing else matters in this world but pleasing him. In a sense, we have started the reading by looking at the last chapter of the last volume, and it introduces Mehra so beautifully. It is said over here that she played the role of creation. She represented the world. Baba worked through her. She had all the attributes opposite to God. And since God created the creation, he loved her the most. He tried to please her the most because she represented that creation. What work Baba did through her and the rest of the circle members, we do not know. But what we do know and what we can truly imbibe is that one pointed, sincere, constant remembrance of the Lord that Mehra embodied. And in a sense, that one pointed, sincere, constant remembrance, constant repetition of her name, of his name, and living every moment to please him, taking care of the minutest details of Baba, taking care of the minutest things that he liked and did not like, and bringing Baba into every moment of our life is a very hard thing to do. It's very, very difficult. The greatest sages and the rishis are not able to do it. Baba ने ये बहुत स्पष्ट कहा है. That kind of love, that infectious love, which is so spontaneous, which is so focused, which is only for the beloved, is something that is possible for us, of course, by his grace. And that is why I feel that because Mehra was the chosen one, and because by his grace, she was able to please him and love him in the smallest possible things, Baba was pleased by her love. And that is why she is his beloved. Because such love, demonstrating such love is possible only for the very few. And by his grace, she demonstrated that to us. And that's the story. The story of Mehra's life with him. As I said, it began, she was born in a family of her father, Jahangir Irani, was in the Indian civil service in the 1900s. He was the chief forest officer. Mehra was born in Sindh, which is now, of course, part of Pakistan. And after her father passed away, her mother started visiting many spiritual masters, came to Upasni Maharaj. That's where Mehra first met Baba or saw Baba in the year 1917. And then in 1924, she started living with Baba along with her mother, Daulat Mai. And the stories, there are many stories of that. I will read a few pages since we have a little time with us. The early days, as we all know, Baba was talking at that time. He had a beautiful voice. He would sing. He had set up shop at Mehrabad. And right next to the railway tracks was the old post office building, which was left behind by the Britishers, by the retreating British armies, which stayed during the First World War over there. And Baba had occupied that room, and there was Baba. There were a few members of the men Mandli, like his uncle, that is Masaji. There was Gustaji. There was Padri. And then there was, of course, the women who stayed, who came and stayed with him. And in that, there was Naja, his cousin. There was Mehra, Mehra's mother. And I will read just a few pages since we are a little short on time, of what, to give us all a glimpse of what that life was in those days. And I'm talking of 1924 when Baba was speaking. This was before he started observing silence. And Baba had ordered Mehra and her mother Daulat Mai to come and stay with him in the post office building and work over there. Prior to that, they were staying at Khushru quarters in Ahmednagar. And we must also not forget a very important fact, that this family, Mehra's family, had a lot of property and houses in Pune. They sold off everything, including the last piece of jewelry. A sum of rupees 4 lakhs was collected, handed over to Baba. Out of that money, a part of that money was given. 4 lakhs in 1927, 24, 27 is a huge amount, huge sum of money. So in those days, a part of that money was used to fund the Hazrat Babajan school that came up. A part of that money was sent to Iran by Baba, and one of his Mandli members, Rao Sahib Kekasru Afsari, was sent over there to set up schools in some of the poorest villages of the country. And Daulat Mai continued to send money to those schools in Iran to fund the schools and their working. And then a part of it, of course, was Baba kept on giving it to people who were in need. And Adi's father, Khan Sahib Kekashru Irani, said that, Baba, why are you wasting money like this? Baba said, by giving people who need money, I'm not wasting, I'm investing in them. What a beautiful sentence. So, of course, what was life at that time? So, when Mehra and her mother were called to stay with Baba, they came one day, and what is the scene that they see? So they see that when the woman arrived in Mehrabad that afternoon, Baba was on the post office veranda singing bhajans with a few villagers and playing the drum. He motioned to the women to wait, and they sat down until he was finished. And Mehra describes it. His hair was open and his shirt fallen over his shoulder. He looked lovely. Baba used to sing Tukaram's bhajans so well. His pronunciation of Marathi was so clear and his voice was so beautiful that the local villagers of Arangaon were drawn to him. If one heard Baba sing, one would leave what one was doing just to hear him. As he sang, he swayed with feeling to the music. Sometimes he accompanied himself on a small brass bell. At other times, he played the drum, while those in the crowd played bells. Sometimes Baba sang kavalis, accompanied by Adi on the sitar. He sang with all his heart. The song, the music, the tune, the words were so important to him. He loved music. He loved singing. I remember his voice and his way of singing. There is no voice like this. After the music, the distribution began. Gustadji and Masaji opened the bundles of shirts. It was a poor uh, feeding program which was organized by Baba. And there were many shirts which were stitched by Mehra and her mother and her sisters, which were brought to Mehrabad. Gustadji and Masaji opened the bundles of shirts, while Padri opened the sacks of prasad. Baba beckoned first to a 3-year-old boy sitting on his mother's lap. The child was shy, but the mother pushed him forward. Baba gave him a little shirt and put some prasad in the middle on top of the shirt. The child happily sat back on his mother's lap and began eating the prasad. Every mother and child received a shirt and prasad, and then the older boys were called, and finally the men. Baba would be so liberal with the prasad, dishing it out by the handful that it would spill out of the cloth and onto the ground. Said Mehra, when Baba gave, he gave abundantly. When the time came for the villagers to leave, they shouted Sadguru Meher Baba ki Jai and went down the road towards the village, laughing and shouting merrily. Baba turned to Daulat Mai, Mehra's mother, and remarked, "See how happy they are. Don't you feel happy?" "Yes, Baba," Daulat Mai replied. "I feel happy when I see others happy," said Baba, "especially these poor people." Then he told the woman that they should pack up their belongings at Khushru quarters and be ready to move to Mehrabad shortly. Small Khorshid, who was one of Baba's, there were two Khorshid, small and big, that's how Baba called them. So there was a small Khorshid, it was part of Baba's women mandli in the early days. So small Khorshid told Mehra that since they were moving to Mehrabad, they must renounce all comforts and lead a simple life. We must live like fakirs. Mehra asked innocently, what should we do? In order not to give our heads comfort, we should not use pillows. We must sleep with our heads on the hard ground, Khorshid said. So at Khushru quarters, they began sleeping without a pillow on straw mats on the stone floor. Mehra did not mind. I slept well, so it didn't matter. They decided to go barefoot also, as they had done in Sakori in Upasni Maharaj's ashram. Even during cold weather, Maharaj did not like the women wearing chappals or sandals, and they walked barefooted everywhere. After another trip to Bombay, Baba called Daulat Mai, Mehra, and small Khorshid to Mehrabad in mid-October 1924, along with Daula Masi Naja and Big Khorshid from Pune. The two girls moved to Mehrabad with their bedding rolls but without any pillows. When the woman arrived, Baba was on the veranda of the post office and he told them to go inside and unpack. They would be living there while he and the 3 other men slept outside. They were just about to untie their bedding when Baba came inside and asked, "Have you brought good bedding? Let me see how much you have brought. You must keep good health here and not catch a cold and fall ill. Have you each brought a blanket?" They said yes and opened their beddings. Baba inspected everyone's beddings and noticed that Mehra and small Khorshid did not have pillows. He asked, "Whose bedding is this?" It was Mehra's, and that one, Khorshid's. "Where are your pillows?" Khorshid explained, "We don't use pillows." Baba said, "Why not?" Mehra felt embarrassed. What could we say? That we wanted to live like fakirs? It was very awkward. Baba looked surprised and displeased. He asked why they were looking at each other. Sheepishly, Khorshid said, "Baba, we thought we could do without pillows." And Baba said, "No, you must use pillows. And where are your chappals?" "We thought we should walk barefoot as we did in Sakori," Khorshid said. Baba said, "This is not Sakori. Here you must wear sandals. You have to wear warm things and do everything I say. Otherwise, go back to Ahmednagar." और बाबा का स्वभाव उन दिनों में बड़ा जलाली था. He was very jalali. "No, Baba," Khorshid said. "Whatever you say, we will obey." Baba said, "We have no doctors over here. You must keep well and work hard. That is doing service. Sleeping without pillows is not going to make you any more spiritual." What a beautiful sentence. Baba said, sleeping without pillows is not going to make you any more spiritual or make you have more love for God. That was the end of Khorshid's plan to become a fakir. That evening, Baba sent someone to Ahmednagar to bring 2 cotton pillows, so Mehra and Khorshid slept with pillows that very night. It was nice after a long time to sleep on that soft pillow, Mehra said. Baba made us appreciate it. And we learned that Baba was very practical. He did not want us to indulge in all that nonsense. If Baba tells you to do without something, it is different from doing it on your own. For the rest of their lives, no matter where they were, Mehra and Khorshid were particular always to use a pillow every night. After 4 or 5 days, Baba did give them a direct order not to read or write. Now, Baba had vacated the post office room to accommodate these women, and he slept on the veranda with Gustaji, Masaji, and Padri. During the day, the beddings were rolled up and placed on top of their trunks against the walls of the veranda. What a life that was! What a true fakir. Can you imagine? Now, Mehra says, she recalls, can you imagine the God man gave us his room? Now, when I come to think of these things, I think of Baba in the night when I am meditating, and all these details come to mind. He was giving of himself so much. At night, when I think of how he used to sleep outside with no mosquito net, I shed tears. It was so chilly and cold in November in those days. He was not comfortable on the veranda. Baba must not have slept well. Now I feel bad that we never had the idea that Baba is the king of kings, sleeping in the cold on a thin mattress with no mosquito net. Snakes might come, scorpions too. In those days, we were only happy to be with Baba. We never thought about those things, Baba's sacrifices. But Baba was giving of himself even then, so that we women should be safe and not feel cold. He was always sacrificing for others. यहाँ पर एक बात नोटिस कीजिए, हम लोग बाबा के पास जाके ये मांगते हैं, वो मांगते हैं for our safety and our comfort. And here is Mehra, who is only thinking of her beloved, his sacrifices in his comfort. That is the difference. And that is why her love and her remembrance was so sincere that she became his beloved. Baba would, and she says very humorously, Baba would cover himself with his blanket and sit up most of the night. He would watch the other men sleeping and listen to them snore to see who snored the loudest. Inevitably, it would be Masaji, his uncle. Then he would take off his sandal and, taking very careful aim, throw it at Masaji. The hard snap and thud of the sandals would wake up Masaji, and Baba would say, "You were snoring away so loudly. It's time to get up. The sun is rising. Wake the others." And Masaji would be happy that Baba's sandal had hit him first thing in the morning, because that is what was the master's prasad for him, which he longed for the first thing in the morning. Baba used to get up rather early at 4:30 or 5 o'clock, said Mehra. As the men were washing, Baba would often sing loudly. Usually one would wash one's face and hands, have tea, and then sing. But Baba was up and singing immediately. His love for music and songs was so remarkable. Can you imagine at 5 in the morning one wouldn't have a voice to speak, leave alone singing? And yet Baba sang so beautifully and clearly, even that early in the morning. The very first morning of their stay in the post office, Daulat Mai shook Mehra awake before 5 a.m. when it was still dark outside. "Come on, get up, Baba's already up and singing." Mehra was a heavy sleeper who never got up early at home, which her mother did not mind. But at Mehrabad, they had to be up early, which Mehra hated. But when I heard Baba, when his voice filled my ears, I opened my eyes. Everything was rush, rush. Quickly, I rolled up my bedding and pushed it in a corner, splashed cold water on my face to get fresh, and brushed my teeth. While Gustaji brought Baba a short stool to sit on and attended to him while he washed his face, brushed his teeth, and shaved, the women started making Baba's tea. The women started making Baba's tea, which he would want as soon as he finished shaving. Baba's tea was not to be prepared on a wood fire, but on the kerosene stove, so that there would be no smoky taste to it, which Baba did not like. One corner of the post office was converted into a sort of kitchenette with a primus stove and a teapot, Baba's mug and other utensils. A shelf had the tea, sugar, and so on, but there was no other furniture in the room. Every activity was done on the floor. Baba's mug was not a mug really, because it did not have a handle. It was the same aluminium lota he used for bathing and washing his face. After it was washed, he would have his tea in it. The others used aluminium glasses since crockery might break. The tea they drank in the morning had no milk in it. It was weak lemongrass tea with just a pinch of sugar, a few dried tea leaves, and some mint. The mint grew in the compound where there was runoff water, and the women would pick it up the night before or early in the morning. They had no other breakfast. No bread, no butter, no chapati, just weak tea without milk. It was like drinking hot water, Mehra said. But we were quite happy to have even that. We were so thirsty in the morning, and at least the tea was hot. Baba's aluminium lota would be placed on the floor of the post office, along with the aluminium glasses all in a row. The tea would be poured into them through a strainer, and then the women would take the hot glasses out to the veranda, holding them with dusters. Baba would be sitting on a carpet that had a thin mattress on it, leaning against a pillow, talking to the mandali. His mug would be placed in front of him on the ground. Now I regret, she says, that we didn't at least put it on a stool, which would have been more respectful towards him. See, in the smallest of things, how she remembers. When the mandali had been given their tea, the women also brought their glasses and sat outside. The sun was rising. The aluminium glasses got so hot that we couldn't put our lips to them. Baba would wait for his tea to cool down. He would test it with his fingers to see whether it was the right temperature before drinking it. One day before I took Baba his tea, my mother had an idea. Mehra says, she told me, Baba's tea always takes half an hour to cool down. We will bring a pail of cold water and put Baba's tea in it. She brought the pail of cold water outside next to us, in which we immersed Baba's mug of tea, taking care that as we stirred it, no cold water went into the mug. We did this for 5 minutes and then handed the tea to Baba. Baba would sip it to see if it was the right temperature and then slowly drink it from the lota. The others then cooled their tea in the same way. It was right at sunrise. The sun just rising over the horizon. Baba would look so beautiful with the sun behind him in his white sadra, talking with the mandali and the veranda of the post office. If he was in the mood to sing, he would sing. There was plenty of time. There was not so much in work in Mehrabad in those days. Only 6 of us women were there with Baba, so there was time for him to talk with the men. Sometimes he would narrate spiritual stories, but we had the order not to read or to write, so we couldn't take down what he said. He did it so vividly, as if you were watching a movie. You could see it right in front of you. Occasionally, Baba asked them, how did you sleep? What did you dream? Once he asked Mehra directly, and she said, Baba, I dreamt something, but I don't remember what it was. It was such deep sleep. Very good, Baba said. That's the best kind of sleep. That's how you are supposed to sleep. But I would like to remember what I dreamed so I can tell you. Baba said that did not matter. One morning, they were up at the crack of dawn and in a great hurry to make the tea. Naja and Mehra were busy in the corner with the stove. They had lit it and pumped it a few times. When Daulatmai said, Wait, wait, Baba is singing a different song today. Can you hear him? They stopped pumping, stood, and listened. A faint grey winter light trickled into their windows. Although the stove made noise when it burned, the flame was not yet very high, and they could hear Baba clearly. It was a pleasing tune. They heard Baba's voice coming nearer and nearer, and from afar they saw his figure in the pale light. Daulat Mai, who was standing by the window, turned quickly and whispered, Baba is dancing. Baba is dancing. They all rushed to the window to see. Just for 1 second, they saw Baba's figure in the dawn light do a few very graceful movements and gestures. He looked very sweet and beautiful In a white flowing sadra, his hair loose, with his very slim face, and he was singing beautifully. It was a Hindi song, Apne Maula ki main jogan banu. That song was played before we started today evening's program. I don't know if we can play that song once again. We had, of course, recorded that song and played it as part of our drama, music, Avatar Meher Baba and music. But Baba was singing that song. Yes, 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 Vinay.
Manoj, if you want, I can just play that part of the
Yes,
song.
please. That would be so nice. That would be so nice. Thank you.
One sec.
बहस दुनिया दुनिया मिलेगा मिले मालिक मालिक जुरा दो हर फी अपने मौला की जोगन बनूं अपने मौला की जोगन अपने मौला की जोगन जोगन
Thank you. That was from our play which we had done, and that this play is of course on YouTube. You can see Meher Baba and music, and in that this entire scene which I've been reading has been depicted. But you can bring the post office before your eyes, right next to the railway track, as we walk up the hill, and just imagine what that sight was when Baba was walking close, was Baba was coming closer to the post office and singing this song. Mehra says it was a Hindi song, Apne Maula ki main jogan banu. That small Khorshad had sung for him only once or twice. Normally sung by a girl, the song is about one who has renounced everything for God and become a sannyasi. When Baba saw that the women were looking at him, he quickly turned the corner and went away. They never heard him sing this song again. Baba's ada, his ways were so beautiful, said Mehra. His way of using his hands, his way of looking, his way of turning his eyes, everything about him was lovely and graceful, so different from any other man. At certain times or in a certain mood, when he looked at you with a particular expression in his eyes, it was so beautiful. Mehra added, weeping. Baba's voice and song come back to me when I am alone in the night thinking. I am not meditating, but I am thinking of Baba and his endearing ways, his sweet and loving ways. This is the beginning, of course, of Mehra's life with Baba. In the very beginning itself, her attention to detail and the way Baba taught her. And of course, there are many chapters in the first volume itself. We may probably talk about it next Sunday going forward, where Baba, like he taught the men Mandali in the Manzilamim in 1922 to be obedient to the master. And Baba had a very Jalali temper in those days. Mehra and the rest of the women who stayed with Baba during the post office days were also put through very testing times with him. And that is where Mehra says she learned the importance of pleasing Baba in the smallest of things. And here in the post office, Baba had given the women order not to see men or talk to men. He lifted this order from everybody afterwards, except for Mehra. Mehra continued to follow the strictest seclusion, as it is said over here in these volumes, as per Baba's orders, not to even hear the name of a man for many, many, many years. What work Baba did through that, what role Baba played through that, we do not know. But I will probably stop over here by just reading out a beautiful sentence from Bhauji's song, which he has written for Mehra. It's called the Song of Mehra. And the song was basis an explanation that Baba had given him about Mehra, where he writes, Radha Krishna, Sita Ram, Mehra Meher. Why do people place your name before the name of the Lord? Question is, why do people place your name before the name of the Lord? We don't say Krishna Radha, we say Radha Krishna. हम कहते हैं सीता राम, राम सीता नहीं कहते. Baba के केस में भी it is said Mehra Meher, not Meher Mehra. Why? The answer, as Baba explained in the song, the creator worships his creation with absolute devotion. So through the ages, your name is sung before his. I'll stop over here. This is the beautiful story, beginning of a beautiful story of Mehra's intimate, divine love and romance with the Lord. And as we have read and as we have understood, she was the one who was selected to play this particular role in his advent. This Avatar Meher Baba.
Manoj, Sam has raised his hand.
Yes, Sam.
Manoj, I have this query in my mind.
Yes, Sam.
Sorry to take you back towards the beginning of what you read about Mehra and all that. You know, I've always been brought up with this belief that Baba never said no to Mehra. You know, and here also Mani Auntie says that if Mehra said the world is square, Baba would. So then, if Mehra represented creation, and what would be that attribute which would compel Baba not to deny her request? I don't know if I'm putting it correctly.
Yeah, it's a good question, Sam, because what I read and what has been given over there, I'll just relocate that part. Give me a minute. But what Mani said so beautifully in this is that Mehra represented. Ek minute, just give me a minute. Let me just see if
Sure,
I'm
sure.
to locate this. This is an important question that you have asked. So here it is. It is as has been, as Baba has explained, that the avatar's circle, the avatar circle consists of 10 circles with 12 members. Mehra and Mani were the two appendages to it, and each circle member represented an attribute which was opposite to the avatar's attributes. So Gustaji represented the dark side, which was the opposite to infinite light, for instance. Or Gustaji represented infinite darkness, which was the opposite to infinite light. And similarly, there was some Mandli member who represented infinite ignorance, which was the opposite to infinite knowledge. But Mehra, now this is what Bauji writes very beautifully. Mehra represented all the opposite attributes of God. So Maya or creation is the opposite, or Maya or illusion is the opposite to reality or God. And the illusion has also been created by God, and it's only through illusion that one realizes God, and therefore illusion has to be sustained. And therefore, if Mehra represented logically, if she represented illusion, then illusion had to be pleased and had to be sustained.
Oh, wow.
So that is the logical deduction, because and Bhauji writes here, he worships, the Lord worships Maya because Maya was and is the medium for realization of God. Therefore, when he comes down on earth age after age, he brings someone to represent the whole of creation, which has all the opposite attributes of God. Mehra was that chosen one.
Beautiful
I hope
explained. Thanks.
I answer your question.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So we'll hand it over to the team to continue the prayers and the arti, and we will continue again next Sunday. Of course, it could be a mixture of reading, some music, some films on Mehra as well. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai.
Hari Paramatma Allah Ahuramas God Yazdanhu Hari Paramatma Allah Ahuramas God Yazdanhu Hari Paramatma Allah Ahuramas God Yazdanhu Ahuramas God Yazdanhu Hari Paramatma Allah Ahuramas God Yazdanhu Hari Paramatma Allah Ahuramas God Yazdanhu Hari Paramatma परमात्मा अल्लाह Brahmas, God Yazadanu Hari Paramatma Allah Brahmas, God Yazadanu. Jai Baba.
हुआ लहर से ही है जिसकी सृष्टि का निर्माण, उसकी दैवी अनंतता का कैसे हो अनुमान। आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, नमो ब्रह्म आवो मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो। आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन, नमो ब्रह्म आवो मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो। प्रेम दीप में दिए जलाऊं, प्रेम दीप में दिए जलाऊं, निबिड़ अंधेरा मिटता पाऊं, निबिड़ अंधेरा मिटता पाऊं, अपना सब कुछ तुम्हें चढ़ाऊं, अपना सब कुछ तुम्हें चढ़ाऊं, तुम मुझको सरसाओ मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो, मेहर प्रभु आरती अपनावो। जीवन की हर सांस हमारी आस हमारी बन जाए प्रभु गति तुम्हारी बन जाए प्रभु गति तुम्हारी हे करुणा कर लीलाधारी हे करुणा कर लीलाधारी तुम करुणा बरसाओ मेरे प्रभु आरती अपनाओ मेरे प्रभु आरती अपनाओ मेरे प्रभु आरती अपनाओ बने आरती जीवन मेरा बने आरती जीवन मेरा आदि अंत का लय हो तेरा आदि अंत का लय हो तेरा खुले नयन और दिखे सवेरा खुले नयन और दिखे सवेरा तुम मुझ में छा जाओ मेरा प्रभु आरती अपनाओ मेरा प्रभु आरती अपनाओ मेरा प्रभु आरती अपनाओ आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन आदि सचेतन शांति निकेतन नमो ब्रह्म आओ मेरा प्रभु आरती अपनाओ मेरा प्रभु आरती अपनाओ मेरा प्रभु आरती अपनाओ
Thank you very much for everybody for joining in, and we will connect, of course, next Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Till then, wish you all a very happy Mehera birthday on the 22nd and a very happy Merry Christmas on the 25th. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki jai. Avatar Meher Baba ki